I find that book marketing can be so incredibly frustrating. It's certainly not because there is a lack of ideas on how to market your books. I, for one, have read tons of articles on this very topic over the past few years. But did any of it make any difference? Nope, not for me. So, this is the first video of 2019, and what better topic to tackle than one all we authors struggle with. If you aren't struggling with book marketing, chances are that you have already made it big. And if you're watching YouTube for the fun of it, then welcome here. For the rest of us, let's talk about the 2019 principles that needs to lie behind your book marketing. I predict that without this, you will be wasting your time and effort. If you are a fantasy author, then you've come to the right place. My name is Jesper, and together with Autumn, I host this channel. Between us, we've published more than 20 novels, and our aim is to help you in your writing and marketing endeavors. As I said, this is the first video of 2019, and I should not forget to say welcome to the brand new Am Writing Fantasy YouTube channel. So over the holidays, the layout of the channel has changed, and I hope you like what you're seeing here. There's a new banner and everything, so it's completely thumbs up.
Hey, as promised, I am back too.
Yes, old McGrumpy, I guess you are here to stay as a permanent co-host, aren't you?
Someone has to keep you worthless humans on a short leash.
And that's you?
You got that right.
Okay then, but try not to interrupt all the time.
I will be the judge of that.
So, book marketing in 2019. The principle that I'm about to share doesn't only apply to self-published authors, because actually traditional published authors are in today's day and age expected to market their own books as well. That's of course unless you are a major name already, and if you are, I'm pretty flattered that you're actually taking your time out to watch this video, because you probably don't need it. The fundamental issue with book marketing as we're heading into 2019 is that the times where you could just sort of throw some money after it, or even just spend a lot of time on random stuff in the hopes that something would stick, that time is sort of over now. And we've got to learn how to focus on what works as a core principle. Why is that? Well, for one, the ad platforms are getting saturated. You know, Facebook ads are getting more and more expensive. BookBub ads are also very expensive, though the featured deals still works somewhat. And even Amazon has started to get rid of the website space that used to be dedicated to also bots, and they have now replaced it by another row of ads instead. So again, a sign that the platform is getting saturated with ads, and well, of course, also Amazon wants to earn more money. So, do you recognize any of these problems in your own book marketing? Are you spending more and more money and you're seeing very little result? Well, okay, let's get into this a bit, but there is some baseline items that we need to get sorted first. So, things like having a very good genre relevant cover, a strong blurb, a professional looking website, and a mailing list. And by the way, the mailing list should be your absolutely number one priority and most important asset. And then there should be some reviews on those books so that it has some social proof as well. And all of those things are part of the book marketing equation. You know, I just realized that there was a lot of ideas there for future videos that we could talk about, getting reviews, writing blurbs, or whatever. And since this channel is now dedicated to fantasy authors such as you, we could tackle them head on. So let us know in the comment section below if some of these topics are of a particular high interest to you, and then maybe we'll put them on the video recording list. For now though, I'll assume that those elements are all in place, and you're basically at the level where you're doing everything you can to market the crap out of your books, yet nothing seems to work. And hey, just for complete transparency here, it's not that I find book marketing the easiest thing in the world and I know exactly how to do it, because it is difficult. And the thing is that a good book is not enough anymore. It used to be so that if you wrote a really good book, you could put it out there and it would probably start earning you some money, but unfortunately that time has passed. And if anybody tells you otherwise, just sort of nod and smile and then run for the hills, because those people are full of crap. I'm sorry. As an author, book marketing is part of your business, and you have got to put the effort in and understand that in 2019, if your goal is to see some financial results from your writing, then you have to treat it as a business.
Get to the point, worthless human.
Oh, you think I'm rambling here? Well, those are actually some pretty fundamental points that just can't be ignored.
No one cares. Are you going to tell them how to run advertising, or should I?
No, please don't. Nobody wants to hear your rather mean advice, I know you pretty well by now.
Book advertising is easy. You just hack all the computers in the world, put your book on those computers, and tell the worthless humans that the computer will only unlock once they have bought the book.
Okay. Let's move on while he's gone. For a start, you need to know your normal level of sales are at. So are you selling 0 books a week, 10 books a week, 100 books a week? You see, unless you know your starting position and unless you only do one new book marketing initiative at a time, then the problem is that you have no idea which one of your methods are actually working and which one should you double down upon. So if you, for example, let's say that you launch a Facebook ad, an Amazon ad, a BookBub ad, and you do it all at the same time, and then your book sales starts to rise. That's good. The only problem is that you have no idea which one of these ads actually did the trick, and then you don't know where to double down. And that's a real shame. So first of all, start tracking your sales and then only employ one new initiative at a time, only one. And then track the results after that, and then you can start seeing what works and where you need to scale up. So why is this important? Because with the advertising platforms getting saturated, it's getting more and more expensive, and you don't want to spend a lot of money on 5 different platforms if they don't work. So the other thing that I found to be true is that book marketing depends an awful lot on the type of book that you are marketing, and also on your existing platform. So just because someone else has success with one type of ads, it doesn't necessarily mean that you can simply sort of replicate what that person is doing and then find similar success. If you're copying what another author is doing, from an ad perspective, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, just make sure that you check what level of reach this author has. So is your audience size similar to that person's audience size? How many books does this person have published in comparison to you? So you see, many don't actually understand that those other factors influences the effect of book marketing. So let's say that by now you have your tracking in place. That's good. So you know how many books you're selling on average every single week. So where do you go from here? So I've sort of been circling around the topic of ads in this video, and that was actually on purpose, because as we're heading into 2019, and despite the fact that I've said that ad platforms are getting saturated and they're getting more and more expensive, there is no longer any way around the fact that book marketing has become a pay-to-play game. That's just the truth, whether we like it or not. So unless you're making use of paid advertising, it is extremely hard to get any visibility out there. Although in a minute I will share some alternatives with you, but I hope you see why I also said that you need to focus on what actually works for your book rather than trying all kinds of ads on all kinds of platforms, because due to the saturation issue, it would very quickly become a very expensive game to play. So as you are heading into this, don't spend more money than you can afford to lose. So that's sort of the baseline of it. And especially when you're first starting out, just sort of start with a small budget, test the waters a bit, and then only scale up when you found something that actually translates into real book sales. And when you're first starting out, my recommendation would be to test out Amazon ads. And I do understand the irony in the fact that I've said that you can't just necessarily replicate what somebody else is doing, but they've been working particularly well for me. And I've actually placed a screenshot here on the screen for you so that you can see the results of some of the recent ads that I ran. But the thing with Amazon ads is that you are marketing your books on the platform where the readers are already browsing with the intent of making a purchase. So in that sense, it's much easier than with Facebook ads, where you basically have to entice the reader to get off Facebook and onto Amazon to complete a purchase. And in my opinion, on top of that, Facebook have lost a lot of its effectiveness when it comes to selling books, simply also because Facebook users are growing tired of seeing ads in their feed. It can still be done, and I absolutely know some authors who have massive success with Facebook ads, but as I said, you can't necessarily replicate what others are doing, and I certainly have not been able to replicate what they're doing, and it's probably because my particular books don't fit that audience. So what I'm trying to tell you is sort of find your own way, you know. Our website, amwritingfantasy.com, there is a link to that one in the description field below, but that holds tons of advice on the topic of book marketing. So you just head over there, search for book marketing, and you'll find tons of blog posts. Also in the description field below, I've added a link to a list of promotional sites from Reedsy, and they collected that one, which is an extremely handy list to have as a reference. And I promised you an alternative as well, didn't I? So when it comes to visibility, know that making your book one in a series perma-free is another way to lower the barrier for new readers to try out an author they have never heard of before. I have actually done this myself, and while it did pain me to give a book away that I had worked so hard over for free, I must say that it's now being downloaded so regularly that it constantly sits at an Amazon sales ranking of between 1,000 and 2,000, and that's pretty good. All I do to make it stick there is to use some of the promotional services that you find listed in that Reedsy article I just mentioned. And again, the same applies. Measure which one of those promotional sites actually works for you, and then only use those. So again, focus is key here in 2019. Please also keep in mind that most authors make their money on sell-through on series. So if you're trying to promote your one single book, try not to get too frustrated over lack of sales. You know, releasing more books over the long term will help you out significantly. Stay safe out there, and see you next Monday.